Hey, Kendra.
Hi, Kristen.
It's fun that we're getting to chat again because
I
I
know,
feel
me
like
too.
we just met virtually when I was doing your podcast, and here we are again,
Here we are
getting to
again.
chat
I'm so
again.
happy to be here.
I know. I was trying to think how we actually got introduced to each other, and I think it was through Sarah James.
I think it was.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
I think
she
it
was
was.
a reader and fan of yours, and then she was like, "You've got to
That's so
follow
nice.
this person," and I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Do you just like look at Sarah and just stare? Because
Yeah,
I do
everyone
that.
does. Everyone does. Uh-huh.
She's so pretty.
She's so pretty. It's like insultingly pretty.
It's weird. It's so like a person shouldn't be as pretty as she is.
No, and just so you know, also her husband, they're just a very beautiful couple.
I've seen her husband. It's like a situation,
It's
the
a
two of them.
situation. Like he
Yeah,
looks
it
like a
is.
male model. He really does. I mean, the joke is he's always doing blue steel and smoldering unintentionally. And they're just the nicest people,
Right,
but
right.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. When I first met Sarah, I was like, I don't know if we can be friends. Like,
I don't get that. Oh my gosh, that's just too
not that she
funny.
was doing anything wrong. It's just
Oh, of
like,
course. It's hard to
are
trust
we?
people who are that pretty. Like, it's just really difficult.
Totally,
It doesn't work.
totally.
Oh, golly day. Anyway, well, that was fun. Yeah,
So
we met through
funny.
Sarah.
Yes. And you were a guest way back at the
Way
beginning of
back.
our podcast on one of the Enneagram episodes,
Yes, I was just like,
which
y'all are
is
just,
so
you
fun.
put out like a call of who's an
Yeah.
Enneagram 1. And I was like,
Yeah.
I am. And yeah, it was great. I got to talk to Sarah, but you and I just talked for the first time like a couple weeks ago.
And I love that you're an Enneagram 1 and your
Uh-huh.
brand is being lazy.
I did an Enneagram podcast, like typology, in Ian Morgan
Uh-huh.
Cron's show typology recently. And he came for me because he was like, it was almost like, I don't believe you that you're a 1 and you would put the word lazy in your, maybe I'm just like really self-aware. I'm
I
just like
think you
really
are.
developed or whatever.
I have had Ian come for another friend on her type.
Really?
And yes, and I listened to it and I was like, no, Ian, no, you don't know her.
You don't know.
She is what she said.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. I guess when you're an expert, you get we just have expert glasses,
No,
I suppose.
totally. I
But
know.
anyway, yes.
I mean, I'm a former therapist. I know that I do that. People are like, I think I'm feeling, and I'm like, is that
Maybe.
really the issue?
I don't know if you do. Let's talk more.
It's
Okay.
really endearing when I do that. People love it. It's good at parties.
That's funny. So funny.
When I point out people's projection, it just makes them want to be around me more.
Totally. Such a
Yeah.
good time.
All right, we're each going to read a little segment from our book. Why don't you go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
My book's called The Lazy Genius Way,
Yes.
by the way. I don't have the pretty one yet. I still have like the
The advanced copy.
advanced copy. I can't wait for
When
the
is
pretty
your
one.
launch date?
August 11th.
Oh, well, you should be getting that soon.
I should.
Except
I'm getting
COVID.
it. I know it is COVID.
Yeah.
I'm getting it July 24th, which is how many days? That's like less
Oh.
than 3 weeks before
Great.
date. My friend Michael and Smith, aka the Nester, she posted
Yes.
like today, the day that we're recording this, on her Instagram stories that she had her real book, and her book doesn't come out till the end of September. I was like, I'm sorry, this feels unfair,
Yeah, that's weird.
but I'm happy for her. But
Yeah.
I look forward to holding the pretty book one of
Yes.
these days. Okay, so this is from The Lazy Genius Way, from the chapter called Build the Right Routines. What Chris Hemsworth can teach you about routine. Not having a routine is like skydiving, and having one is like surfing. I've never done either because I'm terrified of both heights and water, but we'll pretend I know what I'm talking about, even though my understanding of both comes from television and Google. While skydiving, there's in the plane and out of the plane. Sure, there's emotional buildup as you wait for your turn to jump, but there's nothing gradual about the process, in or out, waiting or screaming your brains out. In real life terms, that translates to being woken up by a 4-year-old jumping on your face. By contrast, routines are more like surfing. Chris Hemsworth you're welcome, is out there in the surf in his wetsuit, straddling his board, breathing deeply, and patiently waiting for the next wave. As he sees one forming, he goes through the same motions, paddling on his stomach at first to get in rhythm with the wave, and then jumping to his feet once he's caught it. Sometimes the wave is dinky and he falls. Sometimes the wave is enormous and he rides it a long way. Sometimes he loses focus and gets pushed under. No matter the result, the initial process is repeatable and meant to lead him into something else. A routine is a repeatable act of preparation, not the destination.
That's good.
Oh.
I like that. See, I see what you're doing, which is that you're selling us some Enneagram 1 techniques with the word lazy and then Chris Hemsworth. It's like you just you just confused me a little bit, and I'm like, yes, routines.
It's a magic trick.
Yeah. I love it. All right, I'm going to read a little segment that is about me being lazy.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Okay. With today's intense pressure to get your kids involved in every possible activity, there have been seasons where every minute of my kids' lives have been scheduled. As a result, they haven't always experienced the beauty of boredom that leads to unstructured creative play. That type of play that is essential to the physical, social, and emotional well-being of kids. It helps them to discover their interests and abilities, to handle problems on their own, and manage their time. It lets them be kids for a while. When I'm not micromanaging or overscheduling them, I see 4 active, opinionated, and vocal children cooperate and find solutions to the conflicts that inevitably arise. Without me, they have structured fun together in creative ways, learning to negotiate without my input. When they were younger, they created a cupcake store or made a Lego world. Now that they're older, they practice skateboard tricks together or write plays or play board games with their own rules. I don't remember my own mom being a present, hot glue gun supervising chaperone at every holiday party of my childhood. Hell, I don't even remember elementary school holiday celebrations. I mean, I'm sure we had them, but they were not the every parent present production that they are today. I think my mom came into my classroom twice a year. Meanwhile, I feel guilty if I don't attend every class party, every fake holiday that shouldn't even be an event, Pi Day and Sue's Day, and 100 Days of School, I'm looking at you. There are just so many celebrations and so many trophies and so many opportunities to celebrate mediocrity and expectations to meet.
I remember reading that when I read your book, and I was like, oh my gosh, the preschool celebrates all of those days.
All of those.
Like every single one of those.
So does their elementary school.
So
which
exhausting.
I'm happy for them to do. I just don't want to be involved.
You don't need to be there. We don't need to be there, Kristen.
But I also don't want the homework. I don't ever in my life want to glue 100 things on a hat again, which I've had to do 4 times. 4 times. Glue 100 things on a crown. Like, what is this teaching them? Because they didn't do it. It's just, I did it. I'm the one who did that. They did like 5 and they were like, I'm bored.
I'm out. This is stupid.
Totally.
My oldest, when he did his 100th day, and it was like 2nd grade or whatever, they were supposed to dress up like a 100-year-old person. And I don't own a hot glue gun. I don't understand crafting. Like
I guess you're going to watch a YouTube tutorial on like aging contours.
What I did is I called my mom, who is an actual artist. And I was like, hey mom, do you want to be like a cool grandma and help him look like an old person, please?
Perfect.
And she did. And she like made like a wig with a hat with the gray hair. He had a cane. He was limping. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she cared about it. She loved it. And I knew that she would. I don't. We're all allowed to care about different things.
Yes.
You and I do not care about stupid, mediocre holidays.
I do not. I don't. And, here's the thing, to push it back to both of our brands, because I think our books have very similar messages, even though, they may be marketed in different ways. I think both of us are advocating for opting out of doing it all.
Yes.
And finding ways to stay sane and maybe do the minimum.
right. We could be lazy about some things.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it is
it's
okay.
Because there's no way that you can be good at the things you care about, or you can give energy to the things that you care about.
No.
If you're caring about everything, like you just can't.
No.
You've got to opt out of some things.
You do. Yeah, you have to. And I think, it's interesting because you're an Enneagram 1, which means you're someone who likes order and structure, and I'm an Enneagram 3 who likes productivity and getting things done. And so, I think for both of us, this isn't necessarily like I came out of the womb this way. It's more of wow, I took a real long journey. So tell me about your journey. How did you get from Enneagram 1 to I can opt out and let things not be perfect?
Right. I mean, the obvious answer is counseling, and therapy and stuff.
I thought you were going to say children, but
that's
okay, counseling. Counseling's cool.
It's both. But no, I was thinking about how was my order and craving for order and structure the most insane and intense from before. And it was I had a year calendar on my fridge that was like a dry erase calendar, and I had in it I used a real simple cleaning guide, this is your guide for the year, and I wrote in every single day what I was supposed to do to clean my house, every single day, and I kept it up forever. I never did it. And I always felt bad that I wasn't doing it, but it was well, it looks good. And eventually when I get my act together, maybe I can clean my baseboards every other Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
I can wash my drapes because apparently people do that. And, and then the other thing that I did around that same time of life was I took a notebook up to my closet, and I made a list, including I tried on every possible outfit combination that I owned.
Wow.
And I wrote down every single one. And then I plugged them into a calendar. Because it seemed like the easier way than just getting dressed.
Just willy-nilly putting a piece of clothing on. I mean, it's definitely easier to photograph everything. Obviously that's easier.
It was an 8-hour endeavor.
Oh,
and I didn't even get the entire thing. I was I feel like I didn't understand math and how many combinations there would be.
Totally.
It was a disaster. And I feel like it was around both of those, realizing I don't need to put this much structure around my life. This is causing more work than anything else.
Yes.
So that's my journey.
Yeah.
That's a good origin story.
Well, I just want to offer one piece of advice is just don't ever install your baseboards. I don't know if you're seeing that right there. Just go ahead and get the flooring down, and then just be in the renovation process, just be I'm tired now. I guess I don't need baseboards.
I don't understand baseboard, but there are a lot shoe molding, especially the one above the baseboard, the little round thing.
Well,
there are lots of those things that, if you care about those things, if you're Joanna Gaines, you really do need to care about baseboards.
You probably do care.
But we don't care, and it's okay. We can all care about different things.
I am gonna say I can't really advocate for this because it's just a crumb trap. The space between the flooring and then the wall is just now I'm that's why we have baseboards.
That's why we have baseboards. Maybe that's why they get dusty, because stuff does fall anyway. Because they say you're supposed to clean them.
Well, stuff and food. I'm just not even I eat up here, but somehow there's food.
I just have this vision of you standing as close to the wall as possible, cramming pretzels in your mouth and watching.
I think what happens is you sweep, and then you sweep it into, it's like a little gullet for everything. Don't recommend.
Got it.
Anyway,
Got it.
So how, talk to me about how you went from that to adjusting to more realistic standards for yourself, still having structure, because, you read a segment of your book that I love, which is we're kind of putting scaffolding together when we create some structure in our lives. But how did you find that kind of happy medium place?
It's the worst answer. I really do think it was having kids. And I mean, people can experience that in different ways, but it was a little bit with each kid. I have 3. And the first one was like a typical first one, and he was the hardest of the babies. And so it was like, oh, I can't do anything. Like I couldn't do anything because he required so much attention and didn't sleep at all. It was like if we got 15 minutes at a time, it was good. It was like a win. And so I think I just that was sort of like the falling apart phase of like, oh, I can't do anything. What does this mean for my value as a human? Like there was lots of reconciling all of that.
Yeah.
And then with my second, who was born 2 years later, I think it was more like, oh, I can do this. I've done this once. I kind of made it. Like I'm still a little nervous, but it's also like you have 2 kids under 2. And I was just, there was no space to wonder if I was doing it right because there were too many people to take care of. And so
Totally.
I apologize to Ben, my middle kid, all the time because I'm like, baby, I love you so much. I don't remember when you were a baby. I don't remember anything. I don't remember. Like poor middle kid. It just don't know. I don't remember.
Totally.
My husband will be like, when Ben, da, da, da. And I'm like, nope, I don't remember. So, so I think that was like survival.
Yeah.
But also when you're surviving, you begin to figure out what works for you. And you begin to notice like, all right, I have a very limited amount of time. I have an even more limited amount of energy. Where am I going to put this where it's going to count?
Yeah.
And so I think I started to like, I don't know, almost like think critically about my home and my life and like, okay, so this matters more than this. And it was almost like just the wheat and the chaff. Is that the right analogy? Like just getting rid of like the
It's biblical.
Excess.
Yes.
Is that biblical? Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yes.
He's separating the wheat and the chaff. Look at me. I did
Look
not
at
know.
you.
I was so holy.
Look at you.
So yeah, it was that practice of just starting to recognize like, oh, these things don't matter as much as I thought. And then when my daughter was born and she was a surprise and she was 4 years after Ben. And to the point where I was like, my husband had called to get a vasectomy. Like we were done. It was like a whole thing. There's actually a story of how I found out I was pregnant in the book.
Yes.
Where I took my pregnancy test in a dirty kickboxing gym bathroom. Because I didn't think it would say pregnant.
No, because you just thought like, boop, just getting this over with. This will be nothing. And then I'll go on with my day.
I was going out for drinks that night and I was like, I feel like I should just be sure. Because like, that's weird.
It was really more of a drinking test that like, your concern was really drinking more than a child.
If I'm being honest, it was.
Confirming I can still drink.
Better. Yes. And the great thing is it was one of those digital
fancy.
things. So it was like the word pregnant. Like it was all caps. Like
that'll hit. That's okay.
So and I mean I even talk about when I tell that story in the book, I mean I recognize like it's in the chapter about living in your season because part of the thing that was so hard about that is I didn't want another baby. Like and I didn't know how to be honest about how I was feeling with people because there were people in my life who wanted the opposite, who couldn't get a baby.
Oh, totally.
And so it was just, and it was kind of like, I want us to opt in. If we're talking about opting out and opting in, I want us to also opt into being okay, sharing our stuff with each other.
Yes.
And it being different stuff and it's still okay.
Oh my gosh,
mine not wanting to have, I mean, obviously Annie is the delight of our lives and
of course.
But like that doesn't change how I felt in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that it's okay for me to feel that way alongside a friend who's been waiting to adopt for 4 years. Like that we can be there together, you know, that's really important. But anyway, I think after she was born, I just was like, well, here we are. We have 3 people to take care of. I just had started the Lazy Genius and it was like, I had to get smart about things, but I also wasn't really as stressed about being a mom and doing it right. And so it was just like with each kid, it like more layers just sort of fell off of like, this is what's essential here. This is who I am.
Yes.
Let's just be who I am. I'm like, let the other stuff go and it's fine.
Yes, let the other stuff go. We both really talk about that in both of our books. I mean, it was funny as I read yours, I was like, well, these are companion books.
They
are. They
like
really
a book
are.
Flight. People should read ours together. It's totally a book flight. I love it.
I do agree. But we both talk a lot about kind of opting in and opting out. And just that being a necessity for sanity, that we cannot do it all. No, that's not a thing. And we can't do it all perfectly. What are your personal opt-ins, opt-outs? What are the things that you've said, I can't.
Yes.
And what are the things that you're like, I will die on this hill?
Yes. I actually loved, you have a whole chapter about that where you list your things, and it made me so happy when I read it. It's the best thing ever. So my opt-ins are, my big umbrella is I want people to feel at home when they're with me. So I want them to feel at home in themselves, like as themselves. I want them to feel at home, like I'm a comfortable person. I want my home to feel comfortable, all that kind of stuff. And so what that kind of includes for me is like, I opt into cooking and like really enjoying feeding people. I opt into like a vibe. Like I love myself a vibe. So it's like music and candles and like all the things and plants. Like when people come over and they feel like, oh, this is like a lovely, comfortable place to be.
Yes.
So like I am, you know, my language, you have opt in, opt out, and mine is like, what are you genius about? What are you lazy about?
Yes.
And like, I am such a genius about like making the perfect playlist. Like I care so deeply.
I appreciate that. I really do. I do.
Like it's so important for like a mood and the things, and it's just fine. So, so I actually really, I spend a lot of time on that kind of thing. I opt into, relationships that like I would rather have fewer, deeper relationships than, you know, like a lot of casual acquaintances. But that, and I feel like a decent number of people would say that, but I think that how that kind of comes out is, might make me sound kind of mean, but like, I don't really like initiate a lot of friendships right now.
No,
because I have the ones I have, like I want to be a good friend to the people that I already have. Yeah. And so there are a lot of people I meet and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so rad. This is so great. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to be the kind of friend that I want to be. And so it's not that I'm like distancing or anything, but I just don't always, I
don't think it's mean. I think it's a values clarification, because the thing of it is too, in this culture that we're living in and the time that we're living in, we have the ability to meet cool, amazing people all the time, you know? I mean, the ability to, whether it's online or affinity groups, like, it's almost like it's overwhelming, and that whole choice theory becomes debilitating, because it's like, wow, there's so many cool people I could pour into, but if I don't make selections and choices, then I'm not pouring into anyone. Then it's just surfacey.
Right.
So I don't think it's mean.
Thank you for making me feel better.
Yeah, no, I actually think I do the same thing. I mean, I have met many times said like my application window for friends is closed because I'm full up.
It's just, I get it. I feel that way. So those are a few things that I opt into. Opting out, like gardening, like anything yard related.
Oh yeah.
Anything. I realize that this is like a, definitely a privilege of being a 2-income household. And, but like, it wasn't always that way. And our yard would just be like garbage, and my house cleaning would be on a calendar on the fridge, but not actually executed. So like, but now we have a house cleaner. Now I'm like, I'm going to hire somebody to come and make our yard pretty. Like, I'm not doing that. I don't care. But I want it to look nice. I want it to feel like home. I want it to feel like home when other people come.
Yes.
Not from a performative standpoint, but because I think like the way that the yard and the house looks is I want it to be welcoming.
No, I do too.
But I can pay someone else to make it look that way.
Yeah. Well, I do as well. I pay for both of those things. And my thinking is like, I'm paying someone else to do those things so that I can spend those hours working. Like it's a trade-off, you know, and I know that that's, you know, not a privilege afforded to everyone, but for me, it's like, if I cleaned my house by myself once a week, it would take me about 6 hours. And for sure, my billable rate of 6 hours is more than what I'm paying to have it cleaned. Like it's a math problem to me. Like
it is. Yeah.
You know, I am spending that time better if I'm working. And I'm, you know, and then also just being honest, I would not clean to that level.
Totally. The first time we had a house cleaner, and it's been just the last 6-9 months maybe that we started like paying someone to come. Yeah. And the first time that my kids came home after she had cleaned the house, they were like, it's so shiny in here. It's like they had never, it was like they were seeing the house in a way that they'd never seen it before. It's like, mommy doesn't make it this shiny. But yeah, I opt out of like the, like a lot of the was going to say typical mom culture, which sounds dismissive, and I don't mean it for it to. I don't really need to be in the classroom.
Nope.
That's just I trust the teachers. If I didn't, maybe it would be different.
Yeah.
But the way it is now, it's like, no, you guys are doing great.
Yeah.
I'll pick them up at 3:45.
Totally. And my school has some very involved room moms, and that fills their bucket, and it does not fill mine.
Right.
I will show up. I will run the school talent show.
Nice.
I do that. That's my little niche. Because there's nothing that makes me happier than, just a parade of girls singing Frozen songs.
Next year, it's going to be Hamilton song.
I'm always trying to predict what's this song going to be. There's always a song. It was Million Miles Away from, oh my gosh, the circus musical.
The Greatest Showman.
This is what being in your 40s is like. I just also want to say is that I could see the marquee in my head. I could sing all the songs. I could name all the actors. But the name of the movie, not there. Just not there. Yes, The Greatest Showman.
We'll blame that on the naming of the movie. And not
sure. Right. And then it was a song from Moana one year, which I'm also just going to say that no fifth grader has the chops to sing. I'm also the mean mom who's like, my daughter's like, I think I'm going to sing, such and such. And I'm like, do you have the range for that? No, you don't.
The other day, my 10-year-old, bless him, I love him with my whole heart. He has no clarity about his own skill level.
Oh, yeah.
And the other day, he just had a clean kick with the soccer ball. It was just it was a good solid kick. He's not super great.
Yeah.
Because that one kick was oh wow, good job. That doesn't usually happen.
Surprise!
And he was he goes, maybe I could be the next Lionel Messi. I was that was a big jump. A big jump. He wanted to fish, and then he said he just got the desire in his head that he wanted to start fishing, and he went and caught fish one time. He went fishing with my mom one time, and he came home and he said, "Mom, is there a junior fishing league?" And I said, well, "Yeah, why?" Because well, I want to be a fisherman. I was like, "Well, did you put the bait on the hook, or did Nana do it?" Well, Nana did it. Did you reel it in, or did Nana do it? Well, Nana did it. Did you take the fish off the hook, or did Nana do it? Well, Nana did it. I feel like we've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
For junior fishing league.
So are you the mom who, I have to admit this, I have a hard time holding my tongue when my kids say just unrealistic things.
Oh my gosh,
my son's like, I'm going to be a rapper on SoundCloud. And I'm like, no, you won't. That will never happen. Because that doesn't happen. Everyone's a rapper on SoundCloud.
Yeah, I know.
You'll never make money. I have such a hard time not just letting my kids be kids, because I'm sure I said stupid. I think I wanted to be a fashion designer for the Oscars, which isn't even a job. At that age, I'm sure I said all kinds of bullshit things, but I'm Love's executioner over here. No, that's not realistic.
I don't know. I just feel like the reality. They need to have some reality in them.
Yes.
Gosh, when Sam's like, I'm going to be Lionel Messi, it was really, I don't know. Here's the thing. Maybe there's a difference, and I haven't found it yet. I'm sure there's a difference in I don't want to shame them for dreaming that.
No, of course not.
Obviously. And then, but it feels like the space in there is like your baseboard gullet. It's just narrow enough to be really dangerous, where I'm
totally.
So am I being is this reality check, or am I just dapping?
I know.
I'm not quite sure which one it is.
I just bite my tongue. This is what I tell myself all the time. If they're still saying this at 18,
sure,
then I will intervene.
We'll have a conversation. And
in the meantime, I'm just going to keep introducing other ideas besides being a rapper on SoundCloud.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Good gracious. I wanted to be a sports broadcaster.
Well, that's kind of cool.
I mean, it was, but it was also when I got further in and I looked at now it's much more progressive, and you made a few more strides. But at the time, 20 years ago, it was all tall blonde ladies. All of them.
Yes.
And they were only on the sidelines forever, and I wanted to be at the desk. And I looked at the desk, and I was like, the desk is all white dudes. I don't know. And then the line to get to the desk is all blonde ladies.
Uh-huh.
I just don't know that this is my future. So I decided to become a high school English teacher.
I mean, it's almost the same thing.
Like,
Almost the same thing. Well, I wanted to be an actress, a Broadway actress, and I studied that in college.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
And then, like, my senior year of college, I'm like, so this is like basically a night job. So you work every night, every single night, when the whole world is coming back from work. You and your actor friends go to work, and every party that happens at night or every activity you miss the whole world. And it was because I was doing shows.
You miss the whole world.
You kind of do, because
love that.
I was doing shows, and I had a lot of friends, and I was married by that point, that weren't in the theater lifestyle. And it's like, I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
Like, oh, birthday party. Oh, we're meeting for drinks. Oh, session's like, okay, well, I'm going to rehearsal, or I have a show.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I shouldn't have spent 4 years studying this.
I feel like I feel like a solid 80% of people who do have a 4-year degree would say, like, should I have spent 4 years studying that? Like, really, it's just, what are you going to do?
All right, talk to me about, you talk in your book about this concept of deciding once, which I felt attacked. Talk to me about that concept.
Now I'm afraid to say it because I don't want you to feel attacked. Why did you feel attacked, Kristen? Tell me, say words about why.
That is a struggle for me.
Okay.
That is a real struggle. Being in a
like
loop.
Too much of a commitment? Or,
just being in a loop of indecision.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But deciding once means that you get out of the loop.
No, I'll decide, and then I'll think about it in bed for a few hours.
Okay. Like you change it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but talk about why you do that and why that's important.
Well, the reason that I care about, and that's deciding once, is actually the very first principle of the 13 in the whole book. So it's it feels really important. I feel very attacked by you saying that, but no. Basically, it's like, we already talked about, like, all the decisions and stuff.
Yeah.
There are just so many things to choose, and I just got really tired of choosing things all the time. And then when you have kids, it's like they need decisions. They need you to make decisions for them on their behalf. Yes. That sometimes they fight you with too, and then that requires more energy, and it's just lots of stuff. So I think that there are things in our lives that we can choose one time.
Yes.
That we really don't have to choose again. So it's not that you decide once for everything. That would be, that turns you into a robot. That's not the point. It is choosing one time in areas where it just feels like the energy required to make the decision is not energy you want to give it. And so it's like, is there one thing that I could choose right now that would, like, make this a lot easier? So, like, a couple of examples would be, like, I have a Monday uniform. Like, I wear the same thing every Monday. And I, like, things that you, like Taco Tuesday is kind of like deciding once. Like, we're going to have tacos on Tuesday.
Yes.
Like, done. You can make decisions within that, like, you can change it up within that. That's great. But things like kid birthday parties, like your kids' friends, when they're invited to a birthday party, and you're like, oh, we have to buy a present. And what do we buy them? I don't know this kid. Do you know this kid? They're like, no, I just go to school with this kid. Okay, great. So what do we do? And that you could decide once. We always get a board game. For every gift for a kid, we get a board game, or we get a puzzle, or we get a whatever. And so just things like that that feel stressful. Yeah. Decide one time and then let it go.
I actually totally love that concept, and I do practice it quite a bit. I do struggle with indecision, though. That I can be very paralyzed, and like, we're taking a vacation and I will research hotels for 5 hours, just spending more time than the actual vacation coming to decisions. But no, I love that decide once thing. And I think, especially for parents of a lot of kids, it's so useful to reduce fighting too. Like one of the decide once things we have at my house is everyone just sits in the same seat in the car. Always.
Oh, nuts.
There's no fighting, because I just got so tired of, like, every time we're getting in the car, like, I have to do some conflict management. So, like, no.
This feels unnecessary.
Yeah, like, everyone sits in their seat, or, everyone like, this is how we clean up after dinner. These are the roles that everyone plays. Like, for me, a lot of that is just, yeah, it's not wanting to do conflict resolution with 4 kids every time. So it's just
Yeah.
kind of like, this is how we do it.
Yeah. And I wonder if with the like the indecision and being in the loop and stuff, I
Yeah.
wonder it could be for you that like the reason that you feel in a loop with some of those things is because those things really feel like they matter.
Yeah. Oh,
You don't want
yes.
to be, so like I don't think that there is a lot of help in deciding once in an area that matters, because if it matters, you
Yeah.
want to be more intentional about it. If it's an opt-in for you, it's like, no, I want to keep
Yes.
thinking about this. Like, I want to keep deciding about this because it's that important. It's things that are not important. They're going to be like, no, we're going to buy a
Yes.
puzzle every time. They're going to get a puzzle and they'll be fine.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that too. And that is another one I do. We have a closet of gifts. Like, when I see something on sale at Target, I buy 5 of them.
Nice.
And then it's like, great, I'm glad you have a birthday party. You can go to the closet and choose your gift. And they're like, but she really, really loves, My Little Pony. And I'm like, cool. These are the options.
These are your options.
None of them are My Little Pony. I think everyone will be okay.
Yeah. Well, even like another thing, because when we were talking about kids and like all the mom stuff, like you've got Teacher Appreciation Day and the first day of school and the last day of school and Christmas and like all the things that you do for your teacher, even just choosing one time what you're going to get, like when you're going to give the teachers a gift and what it is.
Yes.
So it's like we do something on those main days, but it's like they get the same book at Christmas.
Yes.
They get a gift card for Teacher Appreciation Day and they get like a card for the last day of school, like a handwritten thank you kind of thing. So it's like, just sort of know. And then I find myself like resenting people who are making me use energy that I don't want to give.
Oh, yes.
Which is like the worst. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be
totally.
Like, you want to be appreciated today? Like, like, this is amazing.
Yes.
I want to appreciate them. But because we're adding in the extra, like we don't have as much margin for that because that's not like part of regular life.
Yeah.
To know this is what I'm going to do. When Teacher Appreciation Day comes around, you're like, oh, yay, we get to appreciate them with this thing that I already decided we're going to do.
Yes.
And then it doesn't feel, you're not resenting that teacher for like needing to be appreciated.
No, it's so true. And that's another area I can just get in a loop of like overthinking gifts. I definitely do that. Overthinking gifts, overthinking, what am I going to get? Should I, I have these things and who's getting what? I can spend a lot of time in those loops.
Yeah, it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. We want to get you out of the loops.
Yes. Yes. And I think, so much of it is just being intentional and kind of planning ahead. That seems to be, a huge help.
Yeah. One of the other principles in the book is to ask the magic question.
Yes. Talk about that.
And the magic question is, what can I do now to make life easier later?
Yes.
And then you can sub in life for any word that you want. So
yes.
Like, what can I do now to make the last day of school easier later? Oh, I'm going to buy 6 of these things that are actually like really beautiful and valuable that I think the teachers would enjoy and put them in that gift closet and then put a sign on it that says, don't give this to your friends when it's their birthday.
Totally.
So it doesn't get lost. Like, just to sort of think ahead one thing at a time, like you don't have to magic question every single thing 37 steps worth. Just like, what can I do? What's one thing I can do right now? And you're right. That forethought really helps.
One decide once and magic question combo for me is I pre-order and keep a stash of napkins and plates. And whenever there's a class party and the sign-up sheet goes out, I am like, plates! I will take the plates. Brilliant. And then I don't have to cook or bake. And I have the plates. I don't have to go to the store. I don't have to, the plates are available.
Oh, that's so smart.
I'm the plate lady.
I do something similar with, like when you have to, you don't have to, but like when the expectation is to be the parent that hosts one of the preschool holiday parties because there are so many of them.
Yes.
And there are not as many kids. So like, I got to do a party at some point. It's fine. But I always get Christmas. Even though it feels like Christmas is like, wait, what's
That seems like more work.
It does seem like more work. Well, let me back up a little bit. I would do Christmas if it's like a pairing thing.
Yeah.
Because someone else can do the work stuff, and then I can
Yes.
do like, I will get all the plates and the napkins and the things that are like festive and whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
do. But one thing that I did start doing with my daughter, I did the Christmas with my boys because they've all gone to the same preschool. And one of the things I started doing with my daughter is I would sign up for the very, very first party because I was not going to give goodie bags. I was not going to do like I wanted to give permission with my own party to be like, hey, guess what? Here it's
lower the standard.
Lower the standard. Just like do the easiest thing. The kids don't care.
No.
Like they really, really don't care. Because if you do the party after the person who literally sends home a goodie bag that's worth like $25 of stuff for this, it's like, what are we doing here?
I know.
And I know that she didn't want to do that because she told me. You know, like I know that if that mom had cared, it would be different. Like, but you can sort of feel when people are doing things because they think they should.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, I love that play idea. Anything that we can do to just be like, what can we do? What can we do to make class parties easier later? We're just going to buy a whole lot of plates.
Well, and I feel like the magic question is so important, especially when kids are closer to my age, because it's like, a lot of it is getting ahead of how can I take the time now to teach my kids to do things that will make my life easier later. You know, like taking the time to teach them to cook, which is a pain in the ass. Like it truly is, you know, like I would so much rather be like, move and give me my own kitchen and let me drink a glass of wine and listen to a podcast and make a dinner. But it's like, I have really put the work in to like teach them how to cook. And let me tell you, my 13-year-old pulled off like a full from scratch chicken piccata last night without any supervision.
Wow.
But it was a lot of freaking work to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why I always say, which I think is similar to your magic question, pay now or pay later. Like I really do think that, right? Like if you can do some work ahead of time. Now she's 13. She can cook for me for 5 years.
Yeah.
Got 5 years of her living in this house.
There's so many dinners in front of you. This is amazing.
No.
Yeah. No, that's totally true. And that's really encouraging to me because like my daughter who's 4, she has better like coordination in the kitchen than my boys do who are 8 and 10. Like they just are like, what do I do with like the other day? And yet then they're like, they pick up a knife, like a big old like chef's knife to cut off the green part of a strawberry, and their hands are, and they're like, is this what I do? And I'm like, that's, you know, and yet my daughter is like, can almost make pumpkin bread like on her own. Like she can whisk things, and I just give her the stuff, and she can crack eggs like a champ. And my boys we would eat shells and everything. Like it's just, so that I receive that like, that is not work that I have any desire to put in, because one of my only like times alone is when they're all on screens and I'm making dinner. Like that's when they get their screen time. Yeah. And so you're right though, that like, if that's what I do from here on out, eventually they're going to leave and they're not going to know how to make anything. And which is still kind of okay for me, but then not, because I care about them and I want them to be able to feed themselves. So you're right. It's kind of like, another principle in the book is to start small. And because what I want to do in this situation is be like, okay, so Sam is Monday, Ben is Tuesday. Yes. Like every kid gets a day or whatever. Like, no, how about we just try one time? Like one time. Try one time and see how it goes. And we'll start small with the one kid. And because you're right, that does feel like a really worthy thing. But it's so much work.
But here's the thing too, and I think we both preach this message in our books, is it's different for every mom, right? I mean, there's some mom who's going to opt into the party full tilt because that pushes her buttons. And, you know, for me, I don't really like to cook. I want my kids to do it. For you, if you love to cook, like, you know, I think that's the freedom in this. It's not prescriptive. It's just, you opt into the things that are important to you, and that might be totally different than what I opt in or opt out of, or, you know, where your magic question lands you might be totally different than where it lands me.
Exactly. And that's why I love, like, both of us have language that is like guiding principle led. Yeah. It's not prescription led.
Right.
It's just like, this is how you can think about it.
Yeah.
And then you make the choice that makes the most sense for you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, no, that's really good. Because I do like to cook, and but I also have a desire for them to feel confident in the kitchen.
Yeah. But
And
then
happy to
if
be
that's
there.
the case, then you can wait till they're like 17, and then
Is
that
what I
like,
can do?
yes, and then you can just launch them when they have better motor skills, you know?
Right now, it is a situation.
Oh, I mean, let me tell you, she did execute a very beautiful and tasty lemon piccata, but the kitchen looked like something exploded. Like just this morning, I went back in and I was like cleaning off burnt pieces of pasta that were stuck around the burner,
Yeah.
just like glued onto the, like, how
Yeah.
did this much pasta get outside
Yeah.
of the,
I feel like this is the same mental space for me as like when your kid wants to be a rapper on SoundCloud and you're like, no, can we just not do this anymore? Can we just shut this down?
canceled?
What's on the other side is too much work.
I know.
Oh man. But you're right. Everybody's different. Every life stage is different. Every kid is like our kids change and suddenly like can hold a knife and not injure someone and all the things. So yeah.
Well, and every kid is different. I mean, I've been trying to meal plan, which I've always failed at. And I have been putting my kids in charge of dinner, but it's like I have some kids that I know, like I can give you a scratch recipe and you can make it. And then I have other kids where it's like, I think you can handle reheating these meatballs and microwaving this bag of rice. And they're like, I want to make, and I'm like, no,
You're not ready.
I've seen you.
You got to crawl before you can walk, man.
You're going to microwave things. Probably till you leave home.
That's going to be like the one thing that you're like for sure in like their first apartment or dorm. It's like you get a microwave and you get a microwave and you get a microwave.
Totally.
Not happening. Oh man.
Thank you, Trader Joe's frozen rice.
Oh my gosh. And that chicken, like that Mandarin chicken, that alone. Have you tried that yet?
So good.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's the one meal that has made my husband, who's not. It's not that he doesn't cook. Like he lived without me for years, but he ate saltines like
Yeah.
pretty consistently as meals, which I don't recommend. I remember coming to his like condo the first time and I was like, so what, we should make something for dinner. Like when we were like first dating or whatever. And I opened up stuff and it was like, there's juice, there's crackers, there's salsa. I don't see much else. What is happening in here? But no, like that sort of has been like that chicken has been like a catalyst for him being like, oh, I can do meals. I can
cook.
It's pretty great. So I need to do that with the kids. You're right.
Well, maybe not yet. Yours are still pretty young.
My
and
son,
you like to cook.
I do. My oldest made me spaghetti and meatballs for Mother's Day.
Oh.
Which is what every mom wants to eat.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't get more gourmet than that.
No, it's not that we eat it once a week. It's fine.
Totally.
But he was so proud because he was like, Mom, I made your sauce, because my sauce is on my website. And he's like, Dad helped me and I made your sauce. But I thought it would be better if I put some, what did he call it? Oregano in it. And I was like, bless you, you precious child. You go in and put your oregano in there. But now whenever I make tomato sauce, he's like, are you making mine or yours? Because mine's a little bit better. It's so fun. They're so fun.
I have a kid who really wants to add new things. Like I'll be like, it's just straightforward. You're just heating up this sauce. And then he will find seasonings and put them in. And then he won't tell. And then he'll sit at the table and have this like, what do you think? You like it? And then I'm eating it and I'm like, what did you do?
Why did you put cinnamon in the stir-fry sauce?
Totally.
What is happening?
Every time I'll have to be like, add nothing. There's enough garlic in it. There's enough seasoning in it. We don't need hot sauce. That's individual choice.
I was going to say, that's customizable at the table.
Yes.
Not right now.
This kid does this at every meal. Like
Bless
he just
him.
thinks he can improve, which, that's the kid. I'm like, again, maybe not a rapper on SoundCloud, but perhaps you could be a chef. We see some natural ability and creativity here.
So good. So good.
All right. Well, where can people find you online?
at The Lazy Genius. I'm pretty
Yes.
much on Instagram. I have opted out of Facebook and
Ooh.
Twitter and LinkedIn and all the other things pretty much. Like I'm kind of there, but
Yeah.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
So I'm on Instagram at The Lazy Genius, and I have a podcast, The Lazy Genius
Yes.
Podcast. My book's called The Lazy Genius Way. Basically, if you Google Lazy Genius, you'll find
You'll land there somewhere.
because
Yeah.
that's what everything is named. So it's fun.
Well, and the book is linked up in the caption as well.
Thanks. That's great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kristen. This was fun.